Welcome to One on One on God 101. Our guest today is the infamous first person evicted. What's the infamous title? You're not infamous, Zay. Welcome to the show, Zay.
Thank you so much, Julie. I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy to be here and chat with you.
Well, we'll talk about Big Brother, but first, God. You have an interesting faith walk story because you were brought up in a Mormon family. And then, at what age did you decide to explore out on your own and turn away from the Mormon church?
Yeah, it wasn't until I was about like 21, 22. So it was within the last like year or two. I think a year and a half ago ish or less than is when I started, making those moves to, kind of separate myself from the Mormon religion.
Why?
I actually have nothing bad to say about the Mormon Church or the beliefs or the believers. My family's obviously still very heavily involved, but I just didn't feel like it was the right thing for me. I didn't really believe the doctrine deep down, and obviously, because of that, it created, issues for me where I didn't want to be a part of something I didn't really truly believe in deep down, and I didn't like really the idea of organized religion as much. I believe that God knows us, He loves us. I do believe in a higher power, and I am spiritual, but I didn't like the idea of organized religion being spoon fed exactly what you can and can't believe, and that if God tells you something, but it's outside of what the religion believes, that it's not actual revelation from God.
So, is it accurate to say now you have formed a personal relationship with God?
I would say so, and I would say the Mormon Church teaches you to have a personal relationship with God, but is through the church in a way. And in my opinion, I feel like I've gained a relationship with God through my own personal, actions and through my own personal life instead of through an entity, through a church. And so I think it's changed a lot. I think it's been very eye opening to me, and I think I've had a lot more perspectives of life and been a lot more open to that since I'm not as closed off to one way of thinking.
Who is Jesus to you?
Something I've been trying to figure out for myself. I like to consider myself Christian, but I also don't want to just say I'm Christian because it's what everyone says in America. And so, I'm on the process of kind of figuring out that journey of who Jesus is to me. So honestly, I'm still figuring that out for myself, Julie. I don't want to tell you something that I don't truly believe. And so I like to call myself Christian, but I want to, strengthen my relationship with Jesus Christ, and really fully, be all in before I say I am.
You prayed with me right before we started recording. What's your prayer life like? Do you pray daily?
I try to play as often as I can. Honestly, I'm a little bit of a slacker. I definitely should step that up and pray more often than not. But I would say I slack off a little bit, but I definitely say prayers. I was definitely saying prayers on the couch on eviction night last night. Um, and I try to pray, obviously in times as well. That is not just when you need something. Just to be grateful, to show gratitude to God for being here. But I think sometimes it's really easy in daily life with how busy we are to forget that.
God bless you, Zay, and your honesty and your faith walk. Okay, can we talk about Big Brother now?
I would love to talk about Big Brother.
Okay, you were evicted 9 to 5. You know who the 5 votes were that were against Amy and in favor of you staying. Do you know them now?
I think it's what Zach, Will, it wasn't Riley. It was Zach, Will. Dang, I don't know why I'm like blanking on the names. It was
Adrian.
Adrian. Yep, Adrian, Kelly, and
Yep.
who's the last one?
Was it Keanu?
Keanu. Yep, it was Keanu. Yeah.
Okay. So, do any of those votes surprise you, or lack of a vote from someone surprise
The
you?
more so the lack of the vote. Obviously I thought for sure Riley would vote to keep me, and that was a little bit surprising to me. We were in an alliance. He had told me he wanted to be top two with me. But at the end of the day, if he felt like it was better for his game to get out of threat, I respect that. And so, and so I don't hold any sort of grudge towards him. Like that was the best move for his game. And so we'll see kind of how that plays out after he gets me out. We'll see if people don't trust him because of that, or how that works through. And there were who else was I kind of counting on? I mean, I was kind of hoping I had Ashley to kind of flip in my favor, or that Jimmy. was pretty confident he was playing both sides. I was like 90% sure he wouldn't vote for me, but I was kind of hoping that in the last moment he would switch it up, or someone like Lauren who was kind of in the middle until the last moment. I was also hoping my speech or something would be able to trigger something inside of her to switch it up. So I felt like I needed one more vote to be super super sure.
What about Kelly voting for you to stay? She's a bit of a wild card. What was your relationship like with her in the house?
Honestly, no one had a super tight relationship with Kelly, but I did feel like, we had chatted about it and we benefited each other's games more than Amy benefited either our games. I knew she was kind of playing both sides and, telling Amy that she would vote to keep her in, but I knew that she was being honest with me because she had actual reason for keeping me. I think she had good reason for keeping me in. She knew that I wanted to take out Rachel, and I think we had similar goals in that. I didn't see myself, if I did stay in the game and Kelly stayed in the game, working with her long term. But I wanted to keep her at arm's length and use her while I could to for the number for the vote, and then when I feel like it's not beneficial to me anymore, to to evict her.
Let's
But
talk
obviously I
about
got to
Rachel.
evict first.
That little detail. All right, let's talk about Rachel Riley. What are your thoughts on her, and how was it having her in the house?
Honestly, it didn't make any difference to me because I didn't know who she was going into it. I wasn't a super fan of the show. And so I think a lot of people were kind of like fanboys, fangirls for Rachel Riley, and I wasn't the case. I just saw her as, if anything, a little bit, of a threat, but because everyone kind of brought her to be, this threat. And so in my opinion, it was better for me to get her out because right off the bat, we didn't really talk game. We didn't really connect super well off the bat. And so I was like, you know what? Especially if she's strategic, I need to get her out of here as soon as I can. It'll be the best move for my game.
Is she controlling that house right now?
In a way, yes. People, for some reason, are scared of her. They're scared to make moves against her. And so that was the route I was trying to make. If you guys are scared of her, she's a threat to you, even though I really don't think she's as big of a threat as people make her seem. But, if you're that scared of her, why not try and take her out? I'll be the one to do it. Take kind of the pressure off me. Hey, instead of looking at me as a threat, let's look at Rachel as this threat. And, let's take her out together. Let's kind of team up, take her out, and then maybe you guys can take me out. But, obviously in that time I'm plotting, I'm going to figure another way to get myself out of that. But obviously that was kind of my route going into eviction night. I thought that was my only way to kind of stay in this game because I obviously am more of a threat than Amy for a lot of their games. And so I wanted to, kind of take that route, but obviously it didn't really work out in my favor. It wasn't convincing enough.
Let's talk about the BB Blockbuster competition last night. Do you realize you grabbed the correct object first, but you didn't ring in?
Wait, really? I actually did not know that. Wow. Yeah, it was actually really confusing. So I saw the word crown. So there were three big screens, and I felt really dumb. But there were three big screens, and you explained the rules super well, and everyone else understood the rules. But for some reason, I think it was the pressure. I just didn't comprehend that there were two screens on the other walls. So I was staring at this back wall, and I'm like, I see a crown. I'm like, but where are the other two words? So I was waiting for the words to appear. I pick up the crown. I'm like, but where are the other words? And then I'm just waiting, waiting, waiting. She buzzes in. I turn around to see what object she grabbed, and it looks similar to mine. And then I see the other screens on the walls. And I'm like, wow, I really fumbled with this one, but it is what it is.
Don't feel dumb. It was hard to figure out, and it was steel crown with emeralds.
And emeralds are green. I was also second guessing myself about that. I think these look like, because I saw, as soon as I saw it, like Kelly turn around with it right before she buzzed it in, and I made out emeralds really fast, and I was like, I'm pretty sure emeralds are green. I'm not positive. Pretty sure emeralds are green, rubies are red. I don't really know too many other gemstones, but
So when you grabbed it, you weren't convinced you had the right object. Is that why it didn't ring in?
correct. I hadn't even like really seen the words. I saw crown, and so I was like thinking that direction, but I wasn't 100% sure.
You talked about in your exit interview with me, it was about the relationships you made in the house. Zach was crying hard when you left. Have you met a friend for life in him and others?
100%. I think I was obviously closest with Zach, and I think we were the two closest in the house. We kind of had a little bit of a bromance, and I love that guy to death. I think the world of him. I think he's a great person. He's a very smart person. He has his stuff together. I think just a great guy overall. But also like I think there's several people that I plan on. Hopefully everybody I can be friends with for life. But I think the people I'll be closest with is Riley, Keanu, and Zach. Those are my boys. I love them to death. Everyone else in the house I love, but those are the guys I connected with on a personal level the most, and that I hope to, hang out with after the house.
I like that you named Riley, even though you know you didn't get his vote to stay. Why do you think he didn't vote for you to stay?
I think somebody on the other side kind of got in his head, told him that this is the moment to strike. If he if he wants to get me out, if he does, I'm a threat to his game, and so he has to get me out while he can. Amy's not a threat to his game, so why not leave her in? And I think it got to his head. He realized that, and he took me out while he could. I don't think it was the best move on his part because I was a vote for him. In any case, I would have been loyal to him throughout the whole game. But if he felt like it was the best move for his game, then I respect that decision completely.
Final question. Who do you want to see win, and who do you think is gonna win?
Yeah, I think who do I want to see win? Honestly, Riley. I think it would completely change his life to win the money, and I think it would be complete transformational for him more than anybody in that house. And who do I think is going to win? I'm gonna go with Morgan right now. We'll see if I'm wrong about that, but I think she's really smart, really athletic, really strategic. She has everything she needs to win, but people don't view her as a threat. She's not viewed as a threat right now, and until they realize that she is a threat, she's going to coast her way, and she's going to start making moves, and then she's not going to be able to be stopped.
I don't disagree with you. Zay, thank you, and Godspeed to you.
Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate it.
I'll see you on finale night.
Hey, I'll see you soon.